Welcome back, everybody, to the Culture Wave Media Network. Today, I'm going to be doing a solo episode on the Bridgerton Season 3, Part 1. It just came out a couple of days ago with the first 4 episodes for Season 3. And so I'm going to just kind of go through my thoughts and let you know what I think about it. Again, I'm Liz Seiko. I'll be your host today. So, Season 3, we have Colin Bridgerton and Penelope Featherington, who in past seasons we've seen their friendship just kind of blossom and come together. And we've definitely seen more on Penelope's side, her love and just attraction to Colin. Colin, we haven't really seen that attraction or interest in Penelope in a more romantic way. So this season, right off the bat, you kind of knew, okay, so it's about them. Eventually they will lead to lovers. It's that trope of like friends to lovers, which Bridgerton does really well job of following those typical tropes. Like for season 1, it was the like fake dating into actually falling in love. Season 2 was the enemies to lovers. And so now we're at friends to lovers. I would say that the first episode was not as bold and bright as I had thought it was going to be. I felt like it was definitely carried mostly by Kate and Anthony Bridgerton's post-marriage relationship, honestly. I actually feel like they brought the most heat in that first episode, and it made me want to kind of watch their lives a little bit more. But that's also because season 2 was probably the steamiest season that they've had so far. The chemistry between them was just honestly wild. And so for me, it came in a little bit slow, the relationship of Colin and Penelope, and honestly, maybe even a little forced. Like, was I really supposed to buy that Colin went to Paris and just like slept with a bunch of women and was just like out in life, and now he's come back, and because Penelope now has a new hairstyle, he's in love with her? It's a little unbelievable, but you know what? We're here for it. I'm here for the love. I want to see the romance happen and see where it goes. So I think the most interesting thing, and my fingers are crossed of this is what they end up doing in the next part 2, which part 2 airs June 13th, which is in about like 2.5 weeks from now, from when this video is going to air. I think that the aftermath of Colin finding out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown is just going to blow everything up. I think that right now he is, obviously it ends with them in the carriage, them having a very hot and sexy moment with Pitbull playing in the background, and him proposing to her. And I think that he's on a high. He is finally committed and accepting his love and interest in her. But I think that the carpet's going to get ripped out from underneath Colin the moment that he finds out that she is Whistledown, which there's no way that he doesn't find that out, because she even says that if she were to marry somebody, they need to know what she does and be okay with it. And I don't think that Colin will be okay with it. Just like Eloise, her Penelope's like best friend, ex-best friend, wasn't okay with it either. I'm also interested to see Eloise get more involved, because I think right now her storyline is honestly really flat, kind of boring. So I want her to get in the mix a little bit more, cause a little bit more of a drama. I just don't know what Eloise is going to do, though. Like, is she going to be happy for her best friend and her brother getting together, or is she going to have a real big problem with this and maybe spill the beans? Like, who tells Colin? Is it Eloise, his sister, or is it Penelope who realizes like, okay, I need to tell him this before we actually get married? Unless she just marries him and is then on the wedding night is like, by the way, I wrote all those horrible things about you guys and about myself. So that's something that I'm interested to see a little bit more in the part 2. A few of the other storylines that we've been seeing them start to blossom a little bit more is the budding silent relationship between Francesca Bridgerton and John Sterling. I love this relationship. It was so refreshing the moment that they stood next to each other and it was just silent and they were just side-eyeing each other. I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, this is the tension we've been wanting from Bridgerton. Here we go. It's also a relationship that we haven't really seen yet. We saw the like young love that they can't stand each other, the enemies that they're like fighting against each other, and to now see just like a little bit more of a reserved relationship, and people who just aren't so out there and fighting and looking for love. They're a little bit more reserved with it. I think it's a really beautiful relationship, and I hope that it kind of blossoms a little bit more. Another relationship that I don't know if they're going to really deep dive into this season. A part of me thinks that they're dropping like breadcrumbs for the next season, season 4 possibly, is between Benedict Bridgerton and Lady Tilly. I'm pretty sure Tilly Arnold, I think is how you pronounce her name. She's the widow, like the blonde one who Benedict is kind of like having an affair with. It's definitely has a lot of curves in that relationship, and I think it could hold a whole season. But I have been seeing online that some people don't really like Benedict right now, so I'm interested to see what they do with that relationship, of if they allow him to kind of fall in love with this woman who was married before and is a widow now and is by herself and is trying to figure out her life and kind of owning her own property. I really love that concept, and I think that Bridgerton should go that route in a new season. But then there's also an even older relationship between Violet Bridgerton. She might have a second love with Lady Danbury's brother, Lord Marcus Anderson. I know that they've only showed them twice, but I just feel that they're really setting the scene for these two to, I don't think get married again, but I just think like to be able to have a little bit of romance and a little bit of attention in their lives, maybe. Because also we're getting to the point where Violet Bridgerton, who is the mother who is invested in getting her children married, especially the people that they love and want to be with, but she's already now, what does she have? She's trying to get her third child married, I think. Right? Yeah. And so she has, I think, 3 more children. I could be wrong, but I think she has 3 more children. And it's like, well, what happens once all of your children are off and married? Like, she needs to kind of think about her own life a little bit. And so I like that we're starting to see that moment for her come into light. I think it's a really nice moment. And I think that it's just something that they should focus on more, is like a second love, especially if they have all these people that are being widowed or separated from their spouses. And then the other thing that I want them to get more involved in is, I think one of the really interesting things about Bridgerton, yes, you have all of the gossip, the gorgeous costumes, like the romance, the love. But I think what's interesting is when they bring in the politics of this time period, specifically of status and who owns a home. I love what they're doing with who is the new family? The Mondricks, how they have a new status now, and he has to decide between his bar or going into this new lifestyle. I just really love like the politics of that. And then also we see it with the Featheringtons and the daughters trying to produce an heir so that they can get the house and that so that they can own the property. I think that's huge. And I hope that that kind of comes into play a little bit with maybe like Penelope. I don't know, like, can you imagine if like Penelope has the first son instead and then she gets the house and then she has to decide what happens to her sisters and her mother? Like, I really want them to switch it up and pull the rug out underneath us. I think 3 seasons, the 3rd season for any show, it can get very repetitive. And I just want them to give us a powerful part 2. I'm a little worried. I don't usually love when shows are split up. Like this one, I think that it ends up being kind of gimmicky and that they end up not having a very strong second part. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that they come in like ablaze, ready to blow the place up and just have Eloise blow it up with saying Penelope is Mrs. Whistledown. And I hope things just start getting a little bit more chaotic before we get the happy ending, because we all know that we're going to get a happy ending. Bridgerton's probably not going to have, I mean, I don't know, maybe Penelope and Colin don't end up together. That would be crazy. That would actually be crazy, but I wouldn't hate it either. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm interested. Again, I don't love that they split it up into 2 parts, but I understand why they did it, because they left it on such a like dramatic, hot note that leads all the viewers. Everybody's going to binge it the night that it comes out. Absolutely, they are. So I'm excited. I'm going to binge it. Let me know what you think about the first 4 episodes. Let me know what you wish would happen. Please comment it below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know who you're rooting for, who you're not really liking this season. Is there a storyline that you kind of want to hear my thoughts more on? Bridgerton's huge. There's a ton of people watching it right now. This season brought in 45.1 million views. It was the biggest debut for the series. So there's going to be a lot of talk about this show. And let me know if you're excited for part 2, or if you're kind of like over Bridgerton. I don't know. But anyways, please subscribe. Please comment. Please help us get to our 500 subscribers by subscribing. You can also follow us on some of our other platforms. We're available on Instagram at Cinema Wave Media, and TikTok and Threads. We're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. So just signing off. This was my first individual episode. I love Bridgerton. I have a great time watching it, and I just can't wait to hear what all of your thoughts are on it as well. Okay, signing off. I'm Liz Seiko. Thank you for watching.
This is The Culture.